Hi guys, Dr. Mel. We're busy with acid and bases, and let's have a look at some of the questions that you'll be asked and how you're going to answer these questions. This is a multiple choice question. In the solution, they want to know which of these, and can you see they give you a point 0.4, a point 0.4, a point 0.1, and a point 0.4 cubic decimeters, so that's the volume of A. And can you see there's the different, well, it's all the same concentrations. So they want to know in which of these will there be the most hydrogen ions, and it's after complete ionization. That we also know because all of these are the strong acids. Remember, this is a weaker acid, but they said it's a complete ionization. So how do I go about? I need to know how many moles do I have. Now I'm going to calculate it by multiplying the concentration, which is 1, with the volume, 0.4. So now I see I've got 0.4 here. Here I've got exactly the same, 1 times 0.4. This is 0.4 mole. Can you see that's what we're calculating? Here I'm going to do 1 times 1.1. So it's 0.1. And here I've got 1 times 0.4. So here I've got 0.4. So which one of these have the most hydrogen ions? We have to know that in this case, and this case, and this case, we've got a monoprotic acid. So that will be 1 hydrogen. On the other hand, guys, have a look at this. Here I've got 2. Can you see I've got to multiply this with the 2 so that I get the answer that the first one, A, will have the most hydrogen ions. So that was an easy one. I went about showing you how to get to the answer. In another multiple choice question, which of the following is not a typical reaction of hydrochloric acid? Now, what do we know about hydrochloric acid? It's HCl, and we know it can react. The first one says it's reacting with a base and releases hydrogen. Now, be careful. It reacts with a base, and you know it actually provides water. So there's already one which I think we can actually see is not a typical reaction. But let's check the others. A typical reaction forms hydronium ions in water. That we know is correct. It colors litmus paper, and because it's an acid, it is red. And it forms carbon dioxide when it actually reacts with the metal carbonate. Can you see those 3 are the correct answer, and you should then be naming A as the one that's the correct answer. Let's see another one. Which are one of the following pairs represent the conjugate acid and the conjugate base? So they're giving me the substance HPO4, and have a look at that. It's got a 2 minus charge. Now, which one of these will be the conjugate acid? So you want to know which of these 4 actually gave away a hydrogen. So it seems like this one can give away a hydrogen. This one doesn't have a hydrogen to give away. Can you see this one can give away a hydrogen as well as that one? So we already know this could be an answer. It seems like this is already -2. So this one and that one can't be one of the pairs. Now let's have a look at the base question. Which one of them can accept a hydrogen to give me this substance? It seems like this one can accept a hydrogen. And can you see this one already has a hydrogen? So the remaining answer that is both correct is number B. Guys, identify one way and structure your answer and your thinking. Go through this list and then through that one and see which one is the option. Which one of the following represents the correct color for bromo-Timor blue? So you've got to know the colors of bromo-Timor blue in an acid. Now you've got to know that bromotimol blue in an acid is yellow? Let's just check. The color of bromotimol blue in base is blue. So the right answer would be D. Let's go to a question that's more conceptual. It's not multiple choice, although multiple choice can be very confusing. So don't think it's easier questions. Ammonia can dissolve in water, and they're giving me the reaction. And they give me the complete reaction. Guys, just check. It seems like it's balanced already. So no, you always check for a balanced reaction. They want to know from me, explain, so that will be words, why the hydroxide ion can be a Lowry-Bronsted base. Now let's quickly just have a look. What will a Lowry-Bronsted base be? It will accept an hydrogen, it's a hydrogen proton or hydrogen. It will accept. Which one of these will accept? Can you see I've got OH minus there? Therefore, that can be a base. So it is a base according to the definition because it can accept a hydrogen. So that would give you your 2 marks. In another question, based on the same equation, identify the type of chemical bond responsible for the production of the ammonium ion. So that's the ammonium ion. They want to know which chemical bond is responsible for that specific production. Now you know we've got ionic bonds. When I've got a metal plus a non-metal, I've got a covalent bond. When I've got a non-metal with a non-metal, and none of these will be applicable. The covalent is correct for the NH3 as well as the NH4, but here I've got a very specific bond. So you know you've got hydrogen bound to the 3 lone pair in nitrogen. Let me just do that. Can you see there and there and there will be the 3 the hydrogens binding to the nitrogen. What happens in this case is that hydrogen ion without any electron will then come and actually, like a parasite, lie with those 2 and share those 2. And the name of that specific bond is a dative covalent bond. So you have to know that it's not just a pure covalent bond as we had here, it's a dative covalent bond, and that's because it actually preys on those 2 electrons that pair there. A third question, write a balanced equation to indicate how the amphelite in the equation can act as a base. Now, which of these can act as a base? You know I've got NH3 there. So I have NH3 there. It can actually react with HCl, or in this case water, and form NH4+. It has to act as a base. Did it accept a hydrogen from the acid? Yes, it did. So that will be your balanced equation. Have a look at the equation at the top. It is balanced already. That's the one, the other. So I know I've got 1 ammonia, I've got 1 water, and it will form 1 ammonium and a hydroxide. Right, I hope you've got your 2 marks. Now we're going to the stoichiometry. 5 cubic decimeters of nitric acid is got a concentration of 0.75. Now guys, when we read a question, we try and make it chemistry, make it not words, make it chemistry. So this is a volume that they are giving me. This is a concentration. Do you see I indicate the symbols that I'm using? It's accidentally dropped in a fish pond. The acid and the water has a total volume. Now I've got another volume again of 1,000 cubic decimeters. So I've got a volume there and I've got a volume there. So let's say this is the nitric acid volume and this is the water. To neutralize calcium hydroxide, can you see calcium hydroxide? There it is, will be added to the water. What's the question? They want to know, firstly, define the term concentration. The second question, calculate the concentration of the acid. So now they want me to do a calculation. So let's go back and answer the first question. What is the definition for the term concentration? It is, remember your equation is that, and this is on your information sheet. Now you've got to write the words there for that. You will say the concentration is the mole solute in a volume solvent. And let's have a look at our equation. I've got the mole there and I've got the volume there. And the equation will thus be in a unit mole per cubic decimeters. Right. Let's have a look at the calculation. Calculate the concentration of the acid after it has spilled in the pond. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make a new equation here. I'm going to say the concentration is currently, I know it's a 0.75 mole per cubic decimeters. I know the volume was 5 cubic decimeters, and I now get my mole that I actually had from the beginning as 3.75. Just have a look. I had N there and I calculated C times V. Can you see there? I took 5 and I multiplied it with 0.75. Therefore, I got that, and the unit is mole. What did they ask me to do? Calculate the concentration of the acid after it has been spilled in the pond. So now I'm adding 1,000 cubic decimeters to that. Remember, that was the water in the pond. So now I've got the same moles as I started with that, and this is what I'm ending with because it's the same concentration. I've got the concentration that I started off with, and I've got the concentration at the end. They want me to calculate this, so that's the question. I know this is 1,000, and I already did this calculation. Can you see here? I've got 0.75 times 5, which gave me 3.75. And now I need to calculate that C, and I've got the 1,000 there. So the concentration will thus be 3.75 divided by 1,000. It gives me 3.75 times 10 to the minus 3. I rather work with exponents. The unit for concentration mole per cubic decimeters. Could you get all your marks? Probably. You got your formula and you calculated it correctly. You substituted and you should get your 4 marks. In a third question, determine if 120 grams potassium hydroxide will be enough to react with the acid in the pool. So what they're giving me is, they're asking me, determine if that's enough to balance. Do you see here? I've got a balanced reaction. I need to know if 120 grams will be enough. Now, there's 2 ways to go about. I'm firstly going to do the easy way. Let's determine the concentration of the acid. And we did it just now. We said we've got the 0.75, we've got the 5 cubic decimeters, and that gave me the moles of 3.75 mole. What do we know? We've got HNO3 plus calcium hydroxide. Now have a look at that. I've got a 1, 2, can you see there? I'll have a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 of these will react with 1 of that. But that's not what I have. I've got 3.75. So I'm going to say 3.75 times 1 divided by the 2. That gives me 1.875 mole. Now, you could say, did I have that many calcium hydroxide? You had 120 grams. You could take that 120 grams and get the moles. You could then say the N is equal to M over M. I know I want 1.875 mole. I need to calculate, that's my molar mass for calcium hydroxide. And if you then get the mass, you'll see it's 138.75 gram. Now let's have a look. I needed to convince the 120 to be enough or not. And can you see I now calculated it to be the only amount that will be enough is 138.75. So what will your answer be? No. Firstly, it won't be sufficient because you actually needed 138.75. Now, guys, remember, 38.75 represents the 3.7 mole. You need to work with your moles in order for you to answer this question. You'll do more complex ones in grade 12, but this is the grade 11 kind of questions that you'll have to be able to do. Remember, we need to identify the acid and base reactions. We've got to know the formation of salts, the neutralization. We've got to be able to use indicators and identify the colors. I hope you get the grasp of the acid and base chapter now after listening to all these lessons. Go back and have a look at the clips again if you're not convinced that you can answer any question. Bye.